and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. So my repeating subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video in particular, we're going to be talking about something a little bit different, something that has been talking about on the channel for quite some time, since back when I first started the channel back in 2020. We've been talking about how Washington, D.C. and its statehood is going to be going through some turmoil. And how I said that I remember I think in a dream or a vision I had, I remember sitting in school, like a different reality, different timeline, and Alexander Hamilton was the second U.S. president of the United States, and I remember being taught that we had our first Great Depression back in 1860 to 1890, somewhere around that frame, and it was brought out by billionaires like Carnegie, Vanderbilt, all those, and they brought the country out of the Depression, but in exchange that they would have more influence in the U.S. government. So they erased that from the history book. And so the first depression was in the 1940s, according to the historian book, but really, in reality, the first Great Depression was taking place in the 1800s, the late 1800s, going into early 1900s. Why is this important? Why is this significant, you ask? Well, it's important and significant because at that same time, it also said that I was being taught that Washington, D.C. was known as the District of Corporations. As you guys have all heard, if you have been with me for quite a while, you all may have remembered me using the frame and the terminology Washington, D.C., the District of Corporation. That's what it really initially stands for. At least that's what I was taught in the spiritual realm. And then all of a sudden I saw something on Instagram, and this person works directly with the federal government, but they are in connection with multiple different federal agencies, many people who have direct line to President Donald Trump. And Donald Trump has said that he planned to, at least this is a rumor, just want to make sure this noted, it's a rumor, that he planned to essentially make Washington, D.C. not get statehood, but get its new version of statehood, and at least in his eye, and it's considered freedom cities. And essentially freedom cities would be handing the power over to a CEO or a corporation, and they themselves will control and dictate a city without any sort of government overreach or any state federal government regulation of any degree, any way. Essentially, it is a corporation colony, is what it is. Because Washington, D.C. is not technically owned by any state, and it is its own independent land with very limited independent rights, it makes it very easy to use D.C. as the stepping stone. They're apparently, according to many news outlets that have not news outlets, but according to many inside sources within the Trump administration from many different federal agencies that don't even know each other, have been saying somewhat along the line that Trump is considering making Washington, D.C. a corporation. Now, why is this more important? Why is this interesting? Because at the same time, he planned to test this out with none other than Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is the guy who is behind J.D. Vance. And so he owns PayPal and all those things, and he is very heavily invested in Donald Trump's presidency and helped him rise to the presidency. So in this video, we're going to be talking about Washington, D.C., the District of Corporation known as, quote, Freedom City, and Donald Trump's rumor. Well, what is the future of D.C.? That is what we're going to talk about in today's video. What is the future of D.C.? Because this will set the precedent going forward to other cities like New York City, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, all those. This is not going to be an outlier. This is going to be a plan that will be, nationwide. We're going to take a look at freedom cities in today's video. Again, this is all a rumor, but this is based on somebody who is in direct connection and worked within the federal agency and has said that this is a rumor, according to many federal agencies and federal people within those government and agencies who have left or are still actively working in the federal government in some degree or some form, but don't know each other, but yet they say the same thing. That's what we're going to find in today's video. This video is being recorded on Thursday, June 5th at 3:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as in when I'm recording this specific video. If you want to help out this channel, well, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting the bell icon, engaging with the channel, watching the video longer than normal really helps to boost the channel algorithm tremendously. If you have noticed that YouTube is not telling you when to do post and upload, do not worry. I do have a Blue Sky account and a Facebook group, which you can go into the comment section or the description below and follow my Blue Sky account and my Facebook group, and I will personally notify you when I do post and upload. This video is just for entertainment purposes only and for educational purposes only as well. There's no claim that I can back this up, except for simply say that it is a rumor as of now. But it's just a rumor, and that's what we're going to take it as. So make sure you take this video as a grain of salt. But I feel like we're noteworthy because I have been always calling Washington, D.C. the District of Corporation, because that's what I was taught a long, long time ago. So that is what we're going to talk about in today's video. If you guys want to donate, the donation link is in the description below. Any donation proceeds that I have received will go straight into the channel. Are you for real right now? Anyway, besides the point, we're just going to get head on. Let's just start the video and let's go from there. Alright, so Spirits and Angels, tell me about the quote, the Freedom Cities. There is a rumor within the federal government, across many agencies and connection to federal workers who do not know each other, who have saying something along the same line that Donald Trump planned to create freedom cities or colonies and cities that are directly owned by CEOs or companies, with no government overreach and no state overreach. This is kind of like what we would be called, you ever heard of like the Banana Republic? Banana Republic is the only place on earth that's ever done it. And they were just owned and ran, the entire country was run by a corporation. Imagine the same concept applied to Washington, D.C. Alright, so Spirits and Angels, tell me about this. Hold on, I gotta change the lighting. I don't like that. Okay, there you go. So Spirits and Angels, tell me about the Freedom Cities. Is this a rumor? Is there any plans for this? Let's take a look. Are there any plans to create Freedom Cities? You ever heard of like the rumor about the 15-minute cities that people are talking about? Like, oh my God, I'm going to do it, blah, blah, blah. That's not true. The 15-minute cities are not true. Freedom Cities, though, based on what I'm seeing, it does seem like that is more along the lines. They just call it 15-minute cities, that people are looking elsewhere while not understanding that the same idea, same concept is being applied under the Freedom City. So in a way, the 15-minute city does not exist. It just exists under a different name, but it's the way to lure people into looking somewhere else rather than looking what's clearly in front of you. Okay. What else, Spirit? Freedom City. Donald Trump planned to make Washington, D.C. the first Freedom City in the United States, owned and run by Peter Thiel or a corporation. What is your opinion on that? Oh, okay. They have a lot of opinions on this. Okay. Peter Thiel and Donald Trump want to make Washington, D.C., according to rumor, a Freedom City, which is owned and operated solely by a corporation known as what I will call the District of Corporations. Washington, D.C., the District of Corporations. He wants to make it that. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Spirit? Okay, so here's what I'm getting. I'm hearing in my ear that they're saying no, but yeah, they're saying that when I'm putting the card down, they're saying that something is similar in the work. It's not exactly 100% what I said, but it's very similar to maybe the name changes or something. Maybe it's not Peter Thiel, it might be another billionaire, but regardless, it's someone of high status. They're saying essentially what I just said is pretty much on the line. With the mere exception, there is a little bit of a minor change to what I said. We're going to find out what that minor change is when it gets revealed on the news. We do have here as well, when we talk about the Freedom City in D.C. and the concept behind it, we have here the Knights of Sword. We have here Manning. I'm hearing like, oh my God, there's a serial killer who, oh my God, let me look up the guy's name. The name is just not coming to me. Manning, serial killer. Let's see. No, I can't. The name's not coming up. But it's essentially the guy who was able to convince people to do bad things, but do his dirty work. So he never actually did anything. He just convinced people to do bad things. Thank you, Child Mansion. That's the word. So the Knight of Swords is kind of like what that card is indicating. The Knight of Coins reversed is indicating to me that there is no risk to this. For some reason, they have so much to gain by doing this, but there's not really much of a low risk. There's a high reward, low risk, but not for the people, for those who are perpetrating this. And we have here, it's going to come in a time with AI and technology is going to be very advanced. They're going to use it to their advantage in some way. I'm getting information now that there's a possibility that they could use money in the form of currency. But here's the thing. Well, they're using money as currency, but here's what I'm saying. That they're using, in order for you to access like your daily life, it's very dependent on technology now, but it's going to be very dependent going forward. They're going to charge you astronomically amount of money to the point where you will be in debt to them. And so the way they're going to do it, they're going to make sure that you are indebted to them and you will work for free trying to pay off this so you can have a little bit of freedom in terms of technology. It's going to be like a subscription service that is forced upon you and you have no choice but to work to pay that bill off. But you can never pay it off. That's what it feels very much like. The Ace of Coins is telling me the way they're going to do it and the way to get people to be stuck inside of the Freedom City of DC is to essentially push you in debt, get you hooked on technology, make your life all about technology, and then take that away and say, give us money if you want to be able to live. Give us money if you want to survive. That's essentially the concept here. We have, as well, when it comes to, what is Donald Trump's rumor? What is Donald Trump really planning to do in terms of this, in terms of Peter Thiel and, making these freedom cities and whatnot? We have here, we have the Ace of Swords reverse. We have here, this is not an attempt to hold on to the presidency. This is not what this is. This is an attempt to do something a little bit darker than that. This is an attempt to be able to control workers. This is an attempt for king-like behavior. This kind of feels very much like medieval period, like very much like the Dark Ages, except instead of people declaring themselves as king and as their god, instead they declare themselves as owner of a certain piece of land, and the people, whoever is on that land, is considered property of the person who owns that land, if that makes any sense. So instead of having slavery, where you go out and you buy somebody and you make them do labor, basically nothing, zero. This will instead be different. You buy the land, and whoever's on the land is now yours. You own that person. Because the person is owned by the government, and therefore, because you pay the government, you now own that person. Now, you are considered property in the eyes of this new concept. We have here, is we have, next to the King of Cups, you have the Ace of Cups reverse. The Ace of Cups reverse. Not great fortune, not great fortune. So again, this is telling me this is the intention. This is telling me here that it's not in any way saying that this rumor is not true. It is saying it is true, but it's saying the conceptualization, the idea, the rumor that they're getting, they're not understanding the full plan. Because remember, these are federal workers who either left the position or that they are currently in the position, but they only know so much, but they don't know the full plan. This is the full intention here. This is the Emperor card. This is the Emperor saying here, the one who ruled. Excuse me. The one who ruled all. I'm hearing the one who rules all almighty. And here underneath here, we have on the side, it looks like a Trojan horse. I don't know if you realize that, but you can see it looks like a horse face here. You have the eye, you have the ear. It's telling me it's a Trojan horse. So there's going to be some sort of delusion that is going to get people into thinking, oh, this is not happening, this is not real. And that is how they go in. They go in like that. Like kind of what I said. Like the Ace of Coins. They're going to get you hooked on technology, make your life all about technology, and then they're going to take it away and say, give me money. Give me money. You can't survive without it. And you become indebted to the system, right? You become enslaved to the system. And they can't say that, oh, they bought you. They didn't buy you. They bought you either with the land that they purchased you, and then they're almost like, the best way to describe this is kind of think of it like a landowner. As somebody who owns land in terms of a shopping mall, a shopping center, right? You have one guy, really nice, really great guy, low taxed. He dies. It gets profited off at an auction. The next guy, who is now the new landowner, decides to raise taxes on everybody. Same thing. He brought out all those stores. He now owned all the stores within that property. And that's the concept that is being applied here. It's a businessman-like behavior, businessman-like mindset. Now, going into the actual thing and finding out more about the plan and Peter Thiel, we have the 5 coin. They're going to outlaw homelessness if they have not done so nationwide, but particularly in Washington, D.C. I don't know if this is a law already or a law is not, but this is the stepping stone in the right direction, at least in the direction that they want to go in. We have the high priestess. It is very much a call-in to a movie. It feels very much like the Hunger Games. It feels like Diversion. It feels like Handmaid's Tale. This is kind of like the ambiance here. It's like the cloth is brought over your eyes. You can't even see. But yet the cloth is over your eyes. You have the crows here. The crows means intelligent, which you can't see. You cannot speak. You cannot understand what is happening because it is well beyond you. And here you have it, the Taurus. And the Taurus card is going to take place within less than 2035. If they were to do this, this would be instituted well before 2035. Right? So this is less than a 10-year plan. This is a plan that has been in the making, but it's in less than 10 years that they're going to try to do this. They're going to try to do this. We don't know if it's going to be successful or not, but they're going to try to do it. The bottom deck is telling me here the 9 of coin. There's going to be a clear discrepancy between the wealthy versus the ultra poor. There's going to be no middle class. This is the 9 of coins here. This is telling us about the Freedom City and what life is going to be like. There's going to be a clear disparity. There's going to be, in the inner city, there's going to be a whole bunch of poor people. In the outer realm, there's going to be all the rich people, and that's going to be a wall. But the wall is within the people. The majority of the people will be inside that wall, and they will have to work and work. But the people on the outskirts, well, it's beautiful on the outskirts. It's terrible on the inside, but it's beautiful on the outskirts, and that's where all the rich people live. That is why Oprah Winfrey comes in. Oprah Winfrey comes in just like that. And they're going to be like, they don't show off their personal wealth. They show it off in a very different way. You know how people show off the material? Instead, they're planning to show off, oh, look how many cities I own. Look how much money I'm making. Look at all the people that are doing my work. That's the kind of new perspective of being rich. Not just gaining money anymore. It's now about how much land you own, how many people you own, and how many people you got working for you. Now that is going to be the new race. Now under here as well, the top of the deck, what we have is the earth. And you can kind of see the beekeeper, the system, the government system. Now these are bees, right? And bees are supposed to fly. They have a hierarchy system. What it is telling us here that the hierarchy system is ending. It's all blue. It's all communication. But then here you have it, the yellow, which symbolizes I do, and here you have the green, which means with the heart. I do something with the heart, but instead I just speak. I speak, but I don't know what I'm speaking. And that is what killed the bees. That is what killed the system and stuff. And it's being not only sprayed with misinformation, which is here, which is the pesticide, right? Very interesting stuff indeed. Very sad that we're even getting into this reality at some point. You know, you would think we were beyond the colonization period. You would think that we're well beyond, you know, trying to own land. You know, king-like behavior. But then again, life circles around again, and we end up back where we were before, right? Who is to say that this did not happen in history? Remember, history has been altered by those who win, not by those who lost. We don't really know our original history. We don't really know this real truth, right? I mean, look at what's happening right now in the 2020 election just 4 years ago, 5 years ago, right? It's being altered in schools. Who's to say that didn't happen 30, 40 years ago? Who's to say it didn't happen 1,000 years ago? There's things, artifacts that they don't even want to show you. Who's to say that this did not happen before, right? Just because something doesn't get told to us doesn't mean it didn't happen. History repeats. Even if it's been hidden, it always repeats. Which means in the past, we had a Donald Trump. In the past, we had a Donald Trump. The question is, we survived that Donald Trump. Can we survive this one? It's the question. You know, that's the burning question that's on a lot of people's mind, I'm sure. But this is District of Corporation. Now let's take a look at Peter Thiel. So Spirit Angel, tell me about Peter Thiel and it's rumored that he is possibly going to own Washington, D.C. as the Freedom City. Let's see what the cards here popped out. I'll put it back in. We have the 5 of Swords here, which means she's not backing down. There's something here that there's a plan, something, a promise, and there was an empty plan, and he wants something for the money that he instilled in something else. So there was a project that went finished, but now there is a demand for something. Okay, so Spiritual Angels, tell me about Peter Thiel and the Freedom Cities. Peter Thiel and the Freedom Cities. Peter Thiel and the Freedom Cities. Okay, here's a challenge to this. Peter Thiel and the Freedom City in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump might give the land to Peter Thiel, the corporation CEO. What's going to happen? What's the plan? Here's the card again. The card comes up again. There's the reason why I had to show you. Okay, what's crossed by? It's crossed by the strength. So we have the 5 of Swords. It's the demand, right? And this is the man. And the demand is pretty strong. Like I said, he was pounding. You can't make this stuff up. He's hounding that demand. What does he want? He wants control of where the president is, but with certainty. He wants full, absolute control. So what is Peter Thiel in this? He wants absolute control of something. And it's not something that he sleeps at night without knowing. He knows that he is safe, that he is protected. And here you have it, the temperance, the equilibrium, the balance. It's water, it's emotional. He wants something. And he said, one for you, one for me. But give and take, that's the energy, give and take. It's not what lopsided. It has to be, if you give, I have to take it. And this is what is represented. The bottom of the deck is the 6 of Pentacles. I give you money, now you give me what I want. The demand. The top of the deck, wishful thinking. The wishful thinking, the Page of Cups, followed by the Empress in reverse, land not being owned for the right reasons. And here you have the next card that follows, the Moon, hidden agendas. The Moon. That is what we're getting for Peter Thiel. So it looks like Peter Thiel matches a little bit ironically to the reading itself. So this would be a part 1 video of a multi-series. We're going to cover more of this at a later date, but I want to see what your opinions are. I found this to be really interesting. I feel like a lot of you guys might be interested in this. Hopefully you guys will actually understand what this video is. For most of you guys who are watching, you will. But for you guys who don't, or you probably didn't click the video. Alright, anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you guys liked today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I love you. Peace out.